God had a plan for James. James was destined to be born in a WASP home in Boston, Massachusetts of the United States of America. James was to attend church, piano lessons, private schools, and polo games. He was to learn about the Christian God, how to order meals in French, and how to deal with the stress of deciding which decorator to hire each season. James was to be taught that poor people were beneath him, and he shouldn't play with them at a young age, nor waste any of his precious money on them when he grew older. This was not James's fault for believing, nor his parents' fault for teaching. It wasn't their plan. When he would finally die, James was to ascend gracefully through the roof of his mansion into heaven, where God would embrace him for accepting his bloody sacrifice from a couple millennia ago. That was God's plan for James.
God had a plan for Sarah. Sarah's destiny was to be born in the Republic of Congo, where the gross domestic product per capita is about $300 per person per year. To give you some kind of perspective, in the United States, that number is 46,000. Sarah was to grow up in the poorest country in the world, where God sent his Christian missionaries to invest enough time and money to convert half the population to Christianity. Apparently, God didn't plan to stimulate the Congo's economy, to stop the emotional bleeding from civil wars, or to put one full meal on Sarah's plate each day. God planned for Sarah's family to teach her the religion of Zambi, where it's believed that the sun, stars, moons, animal, people, everything was vomited into existence by a celestial figure during a time of illness. Because of this insulting religion that God planned for Sarah to learn, she would die passing through the filth of the village floor after starving to death to spend the rest of eternity in hell. That was God's plan for Sarah.
God had a plan for Raul. Raul was destined to grow up in Mecca learning the Islamic faith, and truly believing that in order to be a good person, all praises must be sent to Allah. God had planned for Raul to pray at least 5 times a day to Allah, and to memorize the Quran at a young age. He would live a peaceful and disciplined existence, guided by his Muslim faith, just as God had planned. Raul would set personal goals to commit at least one selfless act per day, and to provide what he could to charitable causes regularly. Raul was to touch many people's lives in a positive way, and to descend straight to hell with Sarah when he died. That was God's plan for Raul.
If God really had a plan for each of us, then why aren't we all put on an equal playing field? You can argue for free will all you want, but it's not going to change the fact that according to God's alleged rules from every monotheistic religion, some people are better set up for success than others. Even if every single thing about you is pious in nature and obedient to most gods proposed in modern religion, then you can still spend eternity in torture just because you didn't believe in the right one. If God had a plan for each of us, then why didn't he plan on giving us all the same opportunities?
Would any sane and loving parents actually plan on their children living in economic strife for the entirety of their existence? Why would they plan on setting their children up to have just enough food to survive to young adulthood before starving to death? Don't we as humans consider it a common mark for good parents to desire better for their children than they had for themselves? Shouldn't a loving God plan for us to spend eternity in heaven and give us every tool in his power to get us there? Shouldn't that include the provision of tangible reasons to believe in him if he's going to make unquestioned specific belief the difference between spending eternity in paradise with him or torture apart from him?
After observing all the contradictions on what a loving God's plan would be for his creation, we're left very confused that God would have a plan for any of us. However, if we examine it from a perspective of humans having a plan for us, it makes far more sense. Humans had a plan to subdue the masses with a fear of something too great for them to comprehend, or even grasp the existence of with mere sensory tools. Humans had a plan to get consistent financial contributions for something even cheaper than snake oil. Humans had a plan to trick billions into paying and obeying throughout the history of time, and that plan was religion.
Getting schooled with grappling ignorance. It's no secret that college tuition rates in the USA have been on a steady climb for years now. The average tuition rate alone for a public 4-year university is over $7,000 per year. Because the majority of students just graduating high school don't have that $7,000 nor the several thousand other dollars to spend on meal plans and residency halls that most campuses require, they tend to need scholarships and grants. Unfortunately, however, the scholarship concept is a broken system in my opinion. Athletic scholarships often send people to college for their athletic abilities rather than their academic interest or potential. Too often do those people leave for professional sports to make millions of dollars without a degree, or just flunk out of college because their academic potential doesn't match their athletic skill level. Meanwhile, there are plenty of high potential, though not super genius teenagers that are forced to take out student loans to offset the impossible college bills they must pay in order to contribute to a job of their academic skill set in society. To be fair, there are plenty of success stories about impoverished individuals who took advantage of their athletic talents and actually went to college with their degrees at the top of their priority lists. So, my question here is twofold. With average college graduates accepting their diplomas with over $21,000 of debt on their shoulders while countless scholarship dollars were wasted on first-year dropouts, is it time for our scholarship system to have a change? And what kind of change could it have? How could we fix it? Also, should students who receive athletic scholarships be more strictly required to fulfill their academic obligations? Does the athletic scholarship system need a complete overhaul, or is it fine the way it is? Let me know what you think.
You get people like Glenn Beck saying, oh well, apparently 1% of Muslims are fanatics. I think it's more like 10%. So you've got like, 100 million people. Most Muslims, most sensible people in the world in general, Muslim or otherwise for that matter, they just want a happy life, a quiet life, a steady life, and hopefully enough work and money to sustain their family, feed their family, live a decent life. Not a perfect life, not a luxurious life, but a life good enough and worth living.